Welcome back, everyone. December 21st. We're only 4 days away from Christmas now, and we're back up here at the farm property. Got a few tasks to knock out today, and I'm going to get out there and enjoy the snow a little bit. So the first task I want to get done today, I have a camera here. It's set up in a pretty good spot, but the deer don't seem to funnel through here as much as they did earlier on. They seem to want to cross, kind of come up this way, go across this fence, and head up in that way. So since they changed their patterns a little bit, I'm gonna move this camera just about 30-40 yards over that way so I can pick them up as they're going up that hill. All right, we were able to get the camera and the solar panel off there. This is definitely one of the old lead acid battery ones. I can tell by how heavy it is. We'll say that it's one of the nicest things. Next to the fact that the lithium do better in the cold, it's also nice that I can replace probably 10 pounds of lead acid batteries with about maybe 1 pound of lithium ion. But we're headed over to the new spot. I'm gonna get this thing put up, and then we're gonna head up into the woods and move another camera. All right, so we got that camera all fixed up. We're gonna head up, find this next one, try to find a nice deer trail to put it on, then we'll continue with the other stuff we have to get done. So the other thing I wanted to do, since nobody hunted out of this blind this year, I just wanted to come take a look at it and make sure it was still looking all right. My dad did come and change the lockout. The one we had on there before was getting pretty difficult to take off, so he threw a new one on there for me. So when I built this, I built it as a pentagon, with the basic idea being that way there's no corners that the deer can get into where you can't get a shot. So I've always called this the pentagon blind. My dad calls it the princess blind. Says he feels like a princess sitting in there with all the windows, like he's up in a castle somewhere waving to the people, I guess. I don't know. But he did get his buck out of here a couple of years ago, so I think he likes this stand here, or this blind. You can see out into the pasture here, but also see back into the woods here where those deer like to come out of. But let's go get this other camera and get it all fixed up. So I had mentioned previously that we had our property here timbered. They came in, they were after some maple, took a few oaks here and there, but it was a very selective cut. Now, that helped generate some money for us, which was great, but the thing it did for the habitat is, if we look around here, and I'll actually point you around and show you some different spots, but you can see how many tops we have laying around, and this creates some really good bedding opportunities for the deer. Another thing it's going to do, so I don't know if you can see here, but it's nice and open now. Same with over here. There's some areas where it's a little more open. That'll let some of these smaller trees start to grow up. At first we'll probably maybe have some ferns, some blackberry bushes, things like that. Those will come up and provide a little bit of ground cover. So you can see that, you know, this is a spot the deer, they feel comfortable because they can see through here fairly well, but it's not completely wide open like big woods. So up in here we can get quite a few deer bedded in here, feeling safe, and they're not piled on top of each other. So the reason I think this went so well is that I had hired a forester to come in here. I talked to him what my management goals were for this area. He has worked with other folks who are managing for deer and also trying to manage their timber at the same time. So he had a pretty good idea of what I was looking for. And then the other reason I think that things went pretty well is I was in here fairly regularly. So, you know, I'm not the type of person that likes to go bug someone while they're working, but I am certainly going to keep an eye out on what they're doing, and I'm going to research it ahead of time, right? So I know what sort of high level stuff they're doing. I know why they're doing what they're doing, right? I'm not an expert by any means, but I know enough about it that I can come in here and keep them honest. So if you've had your property logged, tell us down below. Give us any tips, tricks, anything you've learned along the way, and anything to watch out for. So this is the camera. It hasn't had a whole lot of action. You can see we have a hood here on this camera that's doing a really good job as well. So been pretty impressed with how well these hoods have been working. But we're gonna get this thing pulled. We're gonna find somewhere else to put it, and hopefully we'll get some more pictures. So it looks like we're actually pretty close to where the trail is that the deer have been using. It's right down through here. And if we turn around and look here, right over there is where my camera's at. So we're just gonna move this thing about 15 yards over here. I think I'm gonna point it, back up this way. Seems to be a trail that comes through over there and another one that runs down through here. So hopefully that'll pick up both of those trails. So we just got back to the truck. Now I'm gonna drive up. I have something special I wanna show you. So we're standing in a spot here that I've long considered to be a prime area to build a cabin or a house on. Now my only real reservation is that I want to turn this area into switchgrass. I want to turn this big pasture, what used to be a pasture here, into switchgrass and early successional growth. Basic idea is I want to turn this into an area the deer can escape to. They can bed in it, they can feel safe, and keep those, hopefully, in the future, bigger bucks on this property. And my concern is that if I put a cabin here, and this is where we come into now and again, those deer are going to end up kind of avoiding the area, especially the more mature bucks. So my other option, I'm going to turn the screen back on so I can make sure I point to it, is right down through here. There's an area there in the corner that we own that is right off the road a little ways. I wouldn't have to cross a stream. I could get utilities run to that real easy. Wouldn't be any problems with that at all. But we could build back there as well. Now these are all future plans. We still have 2 girls in school, and that's the way it will be for probably about another 20 years. So don't have any immediate plans, but just been trying to contemplate as I think through what I want to do here with the habitat, where I might end up putting a cabin. So I have solar panels on my house with a backup battery system, and that's what I've contemplated doing here. And especially, I'm assuming, you know, if we do this in 10, 15 years, by that point, I'm hoping that it'll be at the point where you can kind of live fully off grid with just solar panels. They'll make more efficient batteries that can store more power with the same, you know, volume of area. And if we get there, then maybe I'll be able to live fully off grid up here. I won't have to worry about running electric up here. Won't have to worry about running gas up here. Probably always going to have a well here. This is an area where the taxes are really cheap, but there's also very few services provided. Basically, they will plow your roads, and that's about it. But yeah, that's the hope. We'll be able to build a cabin up here, maybe a little bit on the larger side. That way we can use it as a cabin, and then when we retire, we can move up here kind of full-time where it's a little more peaceful. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, would you build up here with this beautiful view, or would you stick a little closer to the road, not have to cross that stream, not have to deal with the DNR or the EPA or whoever wants to come in here and make sure that your bridge is built correctly? or is it worth it, right? Do you invest that time, that energy, put that cabin up here, figure out how to go completely off grid and have this beautiful view each day? So I know this camera's probably not going to pick it up, but there's 2 deer down there. They just came out and started feeding. So I think that's trying to build the case for why it would be pretty amazing to have a cabin up here. So I still have 2 main things I want to get done today. The first one, I'm going to run out and grab that camera that was getting those airs. It's still throwing SD card errors every now and then. I'm thinking it's probably the solar panel, but I'm going to grab that camera, bring it back, take it home, try to figure out what's going on. Then the second thing, last time I had that wiring harness I tried to build out so I could run multiple cameras. Well, it's actually gotten bigger and badder since then. So we're going to go install that thing. I'm going to show you what it's going to do, but it's basically going to make a mega camera down there. So I'll show you that and we'll have a look. But now I'm going to go grab that camera that's having the airs and I'll check back. So the other day we were in here, I was trying to put up a new wiring harness coming off of a battery pack like this, and I didn't end up having didn't have it set up correctly. So I've now come back. I've got the weather pack input from the solar panel, and out are going to run these 3 chew-proof power cables that'll run to each of the cameras here. So I have a Flex Plus right here, a Flex S over here, and then on the back side we have the Spartan Go Live. So we're going to be able to run all 3 of those off of one power source, one giant panel, and that'll let me free up this SPLB 10 to use that somewhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. So let's go. So I just got done building Mega Cam and I wanted to take a look at it here. So let me show you what's going on. So we've got a Flex Plus, an external power source going to it. Everything's chew proof. Same thing here, chew proof going to the Spartan Go Live. And here, a Flex S, same thing, chew proof cable running to it. So what we have here is the Spartan 15 watt panel. It's a very good panel. It's a very expensive panel, but we built the weather pack here into our box so it accepts it directly. Didn't have to do any modifications. Still original for that panel there. But inside here we have 6 21700 lithium cells. So with a 15 watt panel and a whole lot of capacity here, there will be absolutely no trouble running all 3 of these cameras. And that's especially true because it's right here out in the middle of the food plot. So it gets sun all day long, and even here in the winter, there won't be any trouble whatsoever. It'll stay well above probably about 12.2 volts, even on a night with a huge amount of activity. And that Go Live firing a bunch of time lapse, it'll still stay well above 12 volts, so not too worried about it. But if I'm wrong, I'll post a video up in the future, so be sure to subscribe if you want to make sure that I put my money where my mouth is. So it's about 2:30, and that's going to do it for me here at the farm. Got pretty much everything done that I wanted to get done. Gonna head home now. Got some things to do around the house, but that's going to do it for this episode. If you like what you see, you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you back in the next one.